Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is day 3, right? Yes. Energy's up still? Yes. Fantastic. That's awesome. I am jacked up. My energy is really high. My business is I generally teach coaches, hypnotists, and speakers, and I've been in live seminars since I was 14 years old, so 30 years of doing live seminars. I have, since 2000, I've been training all three, the hypnotists, the coaches, and the speakers. And a few years back, I founded a speaker company where I wrote sales presentations for people. I wrote sales presentations at $10,000 a pop, and in the first year and a half, I think I wrote 120 sales presentations for everything under the sun. You know, for a lot of real estate, a lot of those type of companies, but I also wrote for laws of attraction, for internet marketing, for relationships, brain science, a lot of different topics. And my process was I would write a presentation all day for them, and then at the end of the day, I had to give the full presentation to the person who hired me. So I had to do a full presentation selling the product back to the owner of it. And I got really good at writing those presentations. So anyways, with 30 years of experience, though, you know, it wasn't just what was working at that time. I've been able to see what works over the extended period of time. Anyways, fantastic. So let me talk about what I see going on in the kind of a group closing, the seminar world, or when I say seminars, I also mean webinars and presentations and such. And so this is what I call a inspirational close. And let me kind of define that and tell you how I've seen the growth of what's been happening out with speakers. You know, after writing 120 presentations, one of the cool things about that was I had 120 speakers out there doing the presentations, giving me feedback about what was working, what wasn't working, what was working. You know, it worked in this industry, but it didn't necessarily work with this type of group. So I got a really good pulse, you know, my finger on the pulse of what was going on, and with being able to adapt and being able to get a lot of field research, you know, from that. And that's not what a lot of people get an opportunity to see. And so the first thing is, what's the difference between, you know, certain speakers and coaches and business people that make consistent results and not? Well, I like to say it's those who train like an athlete. You know, training like an athlete is, I mean, you're using the word champions in this group, right? So you got to train like an athlete. Well, what does a speaker athlete mean? You know, so, you know, an athlete, they don't just read a book and say, okay, well, there I go, and now I'm successful, or now I'm going to go out there and do it, right? So you don't just read a book on sales or a book on marketing and then just go out there. You have to practice it. You have to practice it like the sport. And so, you know, football players, they don't just read the football book. They're going to go out, they're going to do that. So what is practice for a coach or a speaker or a business person? You know, so you need to practice your sales. That's like practicing for that touchdown. You need to role play. When I had a team of back of the room salespeople at my events, I had flashcards written up where I would write, you know, your name is Joe, you're a plumber, you're a single dad with 2 daughters, you have $5,000 in the bank, and your smoke screen is, how do I know this isn't a scam? And so you would pick a card, and I would get that card, and then one of my salespeople would have to role play it. And they would actually role play that situation. Well, how do I know this isn't a scam? You know, and then you would have to overcome those objections. And yet that's not really the real issue. The real issue was, you know, they want the security, right? And so we would role play this. I was with one company where we went on the road every single week, and before you were allowed to leave the office to go to the airport, you had to pick 2 cards and role play 2 cards every single week. In fact, I was thinking I should look up those cards again and just make a stack of them, and that would be like a really good like sales tool to sell or give away to people. Like, here's your card, here's your role play, and do that. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll make mine, but make yours. You know, what conversations have you had? When you talk to your students and stuff, what do they say that their objections they're getting are? And make up those cards, and you got to practice those twice a week. If you do that twice, 2 cards a week, I'll tell you, you'll get really good really fast because it's how you handle those rebuttals smoothly. So in our business, scripting is a workout routine, okay? Scripting is a workout routine. Have any of you ever heard of Andy Tanner? So Andy Tanner is kind of a hired gun. You know, he sells for other people. He doesn't run his own company. Well, now he does, but for the longest time, he was just a powerhouse closer, just a really great guy. And I remember I was getting on a plane, and he was next to me. And he just so happened to be, you know, across the aisle from me, and I saw him practicing his presentation. Now, this is a presentation that I literally have seen him do probably 60 times because I've known him for like 8 years. Okay, so I've seen him personally do it, like Andy Tanner, 60 times. He's probably done 100 times, and he's there like, athletes don't just read a book. Athletes don't just read a book. Athletes don't read a book, and he's looking for the right intonation. I mean, this is a master athlete who's working on his script, figuring out which intonation is best, right? And this is our workout routine. And so you've got to have, if you're going to be a pro athlete, could you imagine not having a routine? Right? So as a pro speaker or a pro salesperson or a pro marketer, can you imagine not having a routine? And you've got to have that, practice that. So scripting is our routine. Now, when we do scripting, kind of like an elevator speech, it's not always intended to deliver, you know, like a speech where it's just, you know, ongoing. But when we practice, like in a football, they'll run certain plays, but they may not do it exactly that way when it comes to game time, right? Yet they've run it enough times that they can do something similar. They're on default. That makes sense? And so when you're doing your scripting, some people, oh, I just don't like that word for word. You probably won't say it word for word when you're actually doing it. Yet in your routine, you are. That makes sense? Yeah, yeah. So you're going to adapt so that it comes out easily. So a elevator speech, you know, when we're meeting people, we don't say our elevator speech directly. We kind of interweave this sentence here. We hit all those points when we're talking to them within 3 minutes, right? We take a 30-second period, and that elevator speech is given in 30 seconds. Does that make sense? So, so you need to do that. Now, it is more work. Yes, you're right. It is more work. And those who are getting the best results are doing it, you know? And so it really comes down to how dedicated are you to that. Now, at the same time, I know all of you are very dedicated, you know, to the thing. And so, and yet I see people resist that part. So yes, it is more work, but what does more work really mean? More work most of the time really means carving out, you know, 30 minutes a week. 30 minutes a week to double your sales, to double your cash flow, to double your security, to double the amount of people you impact. Is it really more work? You know, it's just that they just aren't finding the time. They're just not taking the steps to do it. Make sense? So they'll spend, you know, 5 hours stressing when they could be spending 30 minutes practicing. Make sense? So, so it is more work, and some people, you know, they just don't get into routines. And when you can discipline yourself to do so, you're going to get amazing results. Write this down. In life, you're either going to have disciplines or regrets. Either you are going to do what it takes, or you are going to wish that you did. Change your emotional attachment to that word discipline. You know, because some people, when I say discipline, they think of a kid being disciplined, being punished. Yet disciplines are awesome. Disciplines are wonderful things. Those are they can be your good habits. These are the things that you do whether you like it or not. I think about people who go to the gym, and some people are willing to sacrifice. They want to be fit, so they are willing to sacrifice to go to the gym to get this result, right? Now, when they view it that way, even when what happens when they start getting the result? They stop going to the gym, right? Or even if they do say, oh, I'm going to just keep going because they know they need to, let me ask you this question. How long is a person willing to sacrifice doing anything? Eventually, they're going to want to stop. It's their negative association to going to the gym. It's a sacrifice. So they'll stop, they'll start, they'll stop, they'll start, they'll stop, they'll start. My friend Kathy, she runs 5 miles a day. You know what she does when she has a flu? She runs 5 miles a day. If she has to go if she goes to work and she has to work overtime, what makes her mad about working overtime is that she doesn't get to go to the gym. So going to the gym is not the sacrifice to being fit. Going to the gym is the reward. That makes sense? So it being the reward, she will do that for the rest of her life. So disciplines are your rewards. You get to do these things. And when you get to do those things, you'll do it for a long time. So scripting, writing copy, marketing, sales, those are things that we need to learn to see as the reward, as the fun part. When you see it as a fun part, you get to do that. If you keep on saying, okay, I hate sales, but I'm willing to do it because I want to make some money, you're done. You're done. Because you'll do it for a while, and then you'll stop doing sales. And then you'll do sales for a while, and then you'll stop. You'll do it, then you'll stop. That makes sense? And so you've got to learn to love it, because if you don't, and you stop, well, how many other people don't get your product or service? How many other lives don't get touched because you haven't developed that discipline? So that's the way the athlete sees it. The athlete sees it as something they get to do, reward every single day. They get mad if they don't get to play. Coach put me in, coach put me in. No, you're sidelined. No, that's horrible. They want to play. So as a business person, as a marketing person, you want to play. You want to get out there. I mean, heck, I'm on a family vacation. Why am I here? Because I get to play. I want to be out here. It was interesting when the economy kind of changed. People that were making a lot of money in the seminar business, well, the ones who were doing it because it was just about the money, when the economy changed and they lost money, you know what they did? They stopped. They stopped. It's not making money. They stopped. And then they had a hard time recovering, finding something else to do. And I could always tell the people that are going to be really successful, because when the going got tough, Jason and I, what did we do? We kept doing it. Why? Because it's what we do, right? And then you get back on, you pick yourself up. So you got to train like an athlete. And so over 30 years of seeing live events, here's a couple of things I noticed. I started off in personal development. That gave me an understanding of life. Then I went to business development, which gave me an understanding. Actually, then I started going into teaching hypnotherapy, regressional therapy, because that gave me a deeper understanding of what's going on behind the scenes of people's action. Then I went to business development so I could understand entrepreneurs. And so this is a couple of things I noticed. With personal development industry, and how many people are in kind of a more life coaching, personal development a little bit in there, have those elements? Good. In those arenas, a lot of times they were very inspired. They were able to, inspire large groups of people, and yet they lacked sales. Okay, I am a big fan of the Les Browns and Zig Ziglars and the Wayne Dyers, the personal development people, and they. Not to say that they all lack sales, but their dollars per head, like even Zig Ziglar, I was shocked to find out, his dollars per head that he shoots for is $15 a head. $15 a head. I was like 2,000, I'm thinking like, how do we make $1,000, $2,000 a head, and yet he made it up in volume for sure, but still, their sales kind of lacked. And when I see a lot of personal development like life coaches and such, that's kind of where some of their challenges have been in the sales ability. Then there were the biz op, the real estate, the marketing stuff. Now, how many of you do a kind of a biz op type of thing there? Okay. So in that arena, there were very hard sales, okay, because they got this was a business and they sold hard. And yet some of their challenges I saw is that they lacked connection. So they sold to the person maybe one time, maybe they upsold them another time, but they didn't have a dedicated person there, and thus they were on this very large hamster wheel. It wasn't a small hamster wheel, it was making big money, but it was still a hamster wheel, and so I saw a lot of speakers that were on a $3 million hamster wheel. They were making $3 million a year, but they had to be out there busting their butt all the time to make that happen. And they just, they couldn't take a vacation. They couldn't do certain things. And I didn't see a good, strong quality of life. So I said there's got to be something in between, There's got to be a kind of a good blend of them both. And so what an inspirational close is both. It's both the personal development and the business development at the same time. And so the way I like to say is that people operate out of either ambition or inspiration. Okay? Now, at the same time, I use these same terms in personal development. You can say the masculine or feminine side. And, right now I am coming across a lot of women's conference. And in fact, seems like 70% of my clientele and the most successful parts of my clientele are all women. So now I'm kind of hanging out at women's conference because I realized they're actually a big part of my demographic, for that. Now, what I have found there is that being a man in a women's conference, one thing that I feel reservations about is they kept on saying, oh, you're more of your female energy. It's like, but I'm not a female, and it just never set right with me. So I like these terms because it takes the gender out of it, right? And then I meet very successful women, and he goes, oh, you got to step in your masculine. It's like, no, they don't. It's not about being masculine, and it just changes, it screws with their head with exactly how the energy is supposed to come out. And so I use the word ambition, right? And I use the word inspiration. Some people operate out of inspiration. It's about changing the world. It's about what we're going to do in the life, right? It's about making a difference. While others, about ambition. It's about achievement, making something happen. And so it's kind of a good blend of both. And you just got to find out, are you 50-50? Are you more ambition than you are inspiration? Are you more inspiration than ambition? And yet, using these terms, you understand you've got to both inspire and have a lot of ambition, right? At the same time, if you have any questions or comments or distinctions you want me to point out, shout out. Let's be a conversation with this as well. So, so using these terms, I think about. So I do hypnosis, and those who don't quite understand what I mean by that, I do a lot of regressional therapy. It's like finding out what happened to person in their childhood and finding out what was going on for there. And so, where is a lot of that marketed? A lot of that's marketed in like your new ageist type of place and, kind of esoteric, type of place. And if I go to a Whole Foods and I get one of their, natural magazines and stuff, there's a bunch of, competition in there. And so if I advertise where there's all my other competition, because that's where they all are, then the consumer, they get to determine my price, because they don't know one regression from another regression, right? And so they're going to choose based off price. Yeah, exactly, because they can't tell the difference between anybody. So what, but how many people does regressional therapy or hypnosis in a real estate seminar? No one, right? So me being the only one in that marketplace, I went from, instead of marketing where all these people are, this is where all the other therapists were with marketing. I market here because there aren't any hypnotherapists in this market. And because it's over here, instead of charging $150 a session, now I can charge $5,000 a session. That makes some sense there? And so just by making that shift, so if, you might want to think about that. You know, if you know, if you're over here, there's probably a whole market of people here that needs your help, right? Because they're not making any money, but over here they're not making any continuity, right? So you need to. So if you're in one market to the other, you might want to shift the energy of how you're presenting to open up whole new arenas of who you can present to. Very good. So what is the inspirational sale? Well, what it's not is it's not selling from the get-rich point. It's not hard pressure sales. It's not manipulation, and it's not the sounds or the feels. It doesn't feel very salesy. Okay, so that's what we're looking to avoid by doing inspirational close. And yet, at the same time, we want to make sales, but we just don't want it to feel like all these yucky things that people have associated with that hard sale. So how do we do that? You know, what it is we, instead of focusing on the get rich, we focus on making their dreams a real possibility. Okay? So just by, although it could be similar, there's just a shift in focus or energy in the way that you say it. So instead of being a you need this, it's a more inspirational of making their dreams a real possibility. Feel and trust and protected. So they don't want the hard pressure sales. They want to feel trusted and protected. All right? Manipulation goes to personable, and sounds very salesy, goes into purposeful. Now, I was with one of my mentors, and I was using the phrase of being hard topic and soft topic. Have you heard those phrases before, right? And I said, well, you know, it's always tougher to sell a soft topic like I do. He goes, why do you use that term, soft topic? And so I told him, well, you know, hard topics like real estate or, you know, something with the, you know, money programs. This thing goes, oh, no, I know what the term means. Why do you use it? I said, well, because that's what it is. He goes, well, I understand the terms, but why do you use it? He kept on pressing on that, and I really got it. It was like, it doesn't serve me to think of it as, I was thinking it as a soft topic and less impactful, so that yet it was something I really liked, so I was just willing to do the less, you know, the less one. And so he changed something for me, and this changed everything. He said, instead of using the terms hard topic and soft topic, he told me to use the terms practical and purposeful. Oh my gosh, that shifted everything. It's just that your mindset is going to make all the difference, right? And so there's practical things such as stock market, you know, such as sales training, you know, practical, and then there's purposeful, right? How many of you like that? that changed everything for me. So I love that phrase, being purposeful.
Can you give a couple examples of purposeful?
So, you know, in the, you know, kind of in that more personal development, I'm changing the quality of the person's life, bringing them peace, bringing them happiness, bringing their relationships together. You know, so where we might call a relation, you know, I'm a relationship coach. Well, instead of saying you're a soft topic, like really, it's like if your relationship is on the rocks, you know, all of a sudden it's not a soft top, it's not a lesser topic. It's an important one, right? So it's purposeful, whereas a hard topic is more ROI oriented. So so more on the inspirational sale. So in this, it's where do you focus? And there's 3 levels of where I see people focus. And where most people focus is on what you say. So there he goes, what do I need to say? If you focus on what you say, then it kind of comes off like the telephone game. I tell Brooks, I whisper in his ear a sentence, and you say it all the way down the line. By the time it gets down to Lisa, it's something completely different, right? So it still has a lot of interpretations of what the people say. So when you say when you focus on what you're saying, eventually, it gets lost. And if you say something to that person, the next referral, when they tell people what you do, it's always going to be a little bit different. That makes sense? And so what you say is important, and that's where we start, but don't stop there. It's not just what you say, it's also how you say it. So how you say it is the next level of importance, And then after that, and more importantly, and this is where most people stop or don't get to, is why you're saying it. When you can get to a good, strong why you're saying it, then, and this is what the feedback I get most is, AJ's just great. He really cares about people. They talk about my why, not as much of what I do. They tell people about me, and that's a very different, because nowadays, this is something I've been saying, and I think that people who've been going to a lot of training are doing now a lot too. I no longer shop or buy seminars. I meet and I join teachers. I shop teachers. And people are looking to be inspired. They want someone to follow, because there's so much information out there. It's so lost and so scary. It's like, if you want marketing, learn how to do marketing, there's a lot of marketing out there. The question isn't, who has the best marketing program. It's who do you like? Who can you learn from? This is what people want. And so you have to sell yourself. You have to show, why they should follow you. And that goes down to getting to the why are you saying it. When you get into the why you are saying it, then they'll join you. I remember I was going to a Dan Millman seminar. Anyone know who Dan Millman is?
Oh, yeah.
The Way of the Peaceful Warrior? I just love Dan, and so I was so excited. I keep telling people I'm going to Dan Millman's, seminar or retreat, and this is really, what's it about? And I had no idea. I don't know. It's Dan Millman. He's in New York. I'm going. That's, I'm on the plane, and I'm on the bus, and I'm even walking in the event, and I have absolutely no idea what the event is about. All I know is it's Dan Millman, and that's who I'm going for, right? And our alliance with Mike is like, we like Mike. We like Mike. We like Mike. We like Mike. Should make it. Yes. We should make a shirt. We like Mike. We learn from Krista. But when you have that, right, then you've got clients for life, which is essential for continuity, right? And I'll tell you, having that over the 30 years has been just huge for me. So you've got to build community, and I'll talk about different community things. In fact, one of the biggest reasons why I made my transition is, for years, one of my strongest values is community. And I've been telling people, seminars don't change people's lives. Community changes people's lives, right? And seminars give a reason for people to come together and focus their attention and help each other, but it's a community that makes a difference. I was talking to Marlene last night. We were saying how it's these live meetings and the closed Facebook page, that Facebook page that has that community. Those are some of the biggest values that you'll have here. And with the internet being so big and the social marketing, you've got to have an element of community into your product and service. So anyways, continuing on here, when you do the inspirational close correctly, the customer asks you for the sale. Okay? A lot of times where people do a presentation, they go through their education, and then, you know, at the very end, now they're going to sell something, so they shift gears and they go into sales and they put all the high-end pressure at the last 10 minutes of the presentation. And what happens to everybody in the audience once they make that shift? Right? They go on guard, even on the phone. You know, it's like, oh, you're coaching them. Oh, sounds so great. You're helping me, and then you shift into the mode, okay. You know, and you could just hear the tone. There's a shift there. And it's because they're putting all this pressure all at the end. And that's not the way to do it. That's the incorrect way to do it. The correct way would be to, the close should not be pressured into sales. The close is the release of pressure. That makes sense? So imagine this room is like a big pressure cooker, okay? And we're building up the pressure, and I build up the pressure from my introduction in my body, and I'm just building up the pressure by having them dream more, or show, you know, maybe understanding the pain more, right? And we're building up the pressure, so therefore, at the end of the presentation, they're saying, oh my gosh, I've got to do something about this. What do I do? Oh, by the way, and then I open up the door, just a small crack. And what happens? Whoosh, everything goes out there, right? And so the close is not the turn up of pressure like most people do. It is a release of pressure. If you do the intro and the body correctly, they should be asking you for the sale. And so everyone wants to work, how do I close better? How do I close better? They want to know how to do the last 10 minutes better when they got 90-minute presentation and they want to know how to do the last 10 minutes better. And it's like, do the other part better, the last 10 minutes happens naturally. That makes sense? So you've got to do all the right things first, and that's why in this process, you've got to do your scripting. Your scripting is what's going to help you there. Let me make sure I'm good. So what's going on with this whole kind of in the culture of seminars or coaches and webinars and stuff like that? Well, it's going from what I would call an irresponsible hard sell, where they were selling people programs that they shouldn't have been selling and people shouldn't have been buying. They were just selling them it was just irresponsible. You know, they weren't checking their moral compass when they were doing that. It was just like, it's a sale, and let them figure it out. If they bought it, it's not on to me, it's up to them. But you know it's not the right thing to do, right? And so, so many people being burned with that, you know, losing so much, you know, coupled with the economy and losing so much, now they say, oh no, I hate that. And now the whole entire market went the other direction, which is now what I call an irresponsible soft sale. And I see this a lot, especially in the women's conferences I go to, where they want to avoid sales so much, and so now they just do their coaching session on the phone, and if they like it, they'll buy it, they'll ask for it. If not, and they have forgotten it's still a sales process. And so they're going from and because they didn't sell that to that person, the person doesn't get your product or service, their life doesn't get changed. And so now they went from a win-lose situation to a lose-lose situation. You know, and we want to get to a win-win. So you still have to make sure it's a sales process. And so as things changed, now they're changing their sales process. And my belief is they weren't doing the sales process correctly in the first place. You know, they were doing hard pressure sales, and that wasn't correct in the first place. And you know, there was a big boom in the economy. Quite frankly, many of them were just lucky. You know, they really weren't that good. They were just riding the wave of being good of the economy. And then when it crashed, well, then they rode that wave, you know, as he did that too. And so when you did it right, I love talking to the people who've been in this business, you know, 10, 20, you know, 30 years, because they they didn't do fad selling. They sold consistently before the rise of the economy. They sold consistently during the crash. They sold consistently after, and that's a stable company. So that's what we're moving towards. So the inspirational sale starts off with you. Starts off with your mindset, and so go to talk to some life coaches, talk to some personal development people, go to more events, talk to each other, get the proper mindset of an athlete, who's going to really work at it, be inspirational, know that it's going to be up to you, right? Get to know your why. Ask yourself, should you be selling this? A few years ago, I started a company, as I told you, writing sales presentations, and it quickly rose to being a seven-figure company. And yet, it was turning into something I didn't like. And so I fell out of alignment after a while, and so this is where it comes down to. It's like I could no longer sell it because I wasn't aligned with it. So just because you can sell it, just because it makes you money, you really got to ask, should you be, right? So as you start this, there's going to be some strategic points that I'm going to show you of scripting your presentation. There's a certain order that all of it will go into. There's certain scripts, meaning actual copy, actual verbiage that you want to have in there. And then you just got to chunk it down, break it down so that it's in biteable, learnable, and you're able to write it down. In fact, when it comes to chunking it down and writing it down, write this down, 10-10-3. 10-10-3. How many of you have written a book before, or have a book? Who doesn't have a book or is thinking of writing a second book? So here's a great strategy for that. I'll just keep it there. 10-10-3. So who is writing a book or wants to write a book? What topic?
The topic of my new book is You're Already Sexy, Get Your Sassy Back.
One more time.
You're already sexy.
You're already sexy?
Get your sassy back.
Fantastic. So what you would do is, on the first 10 is, tell me 10 things about getting your sassy back, and being sexy, right? So you tell me 10 things about those things, okay? After you've done that, so tell me two elements right now.
Confidence.
Confidence.
And embracing the F word. Fabulous. Favorite.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So confidence and the F word. so what you do is you tell me 10 things about being sexy and getting your sassy back. A bird just flew over me and there's water there. So you tell me 10 things about, so now you got confidence, tell me 10 things about confidence. Tell me 10 things about the different F words, right? And you tell me 10 things about each of these items, right? So you tell me 10 things about your topic, tell me 10 things about each of those. Now that you've done that, give me 3 sentences for each one of those. Right? And what did we just do? We just outlined a book, 10 chapters with 10 paragraphs with the first 3 sentences written. That is about a 120-page book easily. Okay? Now it's just fill in the blank. And now that this outline is pretty strong, you can give to a ghostwriter. After this outline, I'll start speaking it, recording it, give this written outline and my recording to a ghostwriter, and they'll fill in the blank, and it will sound, hopefully, like me. But this here is just a quick brain dump that you want to make it an ebook, not a 120-page book, because that's pretty a lot of work, and you're just looking for a book that you can give away for free. Make it a 5x5x3. You want to make an email campaign and you don't know where to start? 3x3x3. I did the 10x10x3 on a plane ride from Tampa, Florida to Vegas, and I didn't get all 100 items there. I only got 63. Yet, out of 63, you know what I just wrote? 63 3-minute videos that I can cut all at once and have a year's worth of YouTube, all written on one plane ride. Is that pretty hot? You know? So yeah, how would you like to have an outline for a whole year's worth of videos in just a couple of hours? So the 10 by 10 by 3 will help you break down and chunk it down, you know, so that you can start scripting this. So, so talking about the mindset, you got to be authentic, you got to be real. So the first thing they must know that you first care. So your story is going to be real important so that they can relate. They want to know that you care. In hard sales, we used to say, turn up the pain. Turn up the pain. And I saw some people do that who really didn't care about the people, but they know if you turn up the pain, they'll make the sale. Well, that's just being mean. If you don't care and you turn up the pain, that's just being mean. But if you do care and you turn up the pain, then it comes out more like understanding. Look, I understand the pain. I understand what you're going through, the instability, how it makes arguments at home, and kind of the worry. So I understand the pain. That's very different than saying that your relationship is going to suffer. Is kind of like turning up the pain, but saying, look, I understand. You've got concerns, what's going to happen to your relationship. That's understanding the pain. So you got to come from, it's not just what you're saying, it's how you're saying it and why you're saying it. That changes everything, right? So actually care and listen to your customers. Because before they trust in your system, they must trust you first. So they're going to trust you first, then they'll trust your system. How can you show that you care? Be real, be authentic, be exposed, show your emotion. This is one of the things that a lot of other business people, I think, are kind of scared to show on stage, or show or talk about in a webinar. If you need to script it for a while, just to get yourself to take those baby steps, and do that. But I like showing emotion on stage. I know that, when I can get to a place to where I can draw up something to where I almost have a little bit of a tear or a little lump in my throat, oh, I've got them, But it's not like I'm doing that to get them. I'm doing it because it's real. And now they get a chance to buy my heart. Make sense? So show who you're associated with. And so there's a lot of people that do a lot of kind of name dropping type of thing. And the only difference that I see this a lot in the past with the hard sales, it's not just associating with successful people, it's about associating yourself with inspirational people. So maybe you're changing your presentation of who you work with. So, oh, I work with these 7-figure companies, I work with these CEOs of this and that. No, I work with this guy who works in delivery, and he has a 9-to-5 job. And because of that, he's on a limited income, and his relationship is suffering. And I was able to help the average Joe. And when you can show that, that can also be showing your heart, that you're not just showing the biggest, most expensive success. It's the most purposeful success. Ooh, I like that. I haven't said that before. Testimonies, not just on the most profitable success, the most purposeful success. That's a good focus. Purposeful testimonies, not just the most profitable testimonies.
Life-changing stuff.
Yeah, guys think that. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. So, so show your passion. Show your passion on stage, or have in your presentation. Go on a rant. Go on a rant. Have something to believe in. People want to see someone passionate, and you can whether you want to talk about economy, you want to talk about the people's minds, talking about, for me, when I start getting into people who limit themselves and their thing, it's like, oh, I just want to keep on going. I could just keep on talking and talking. And if you start talking really fast and you're just going and you're just rambling, it's like, oh my gosh, you're so passionate, you're unstoppable because you just feel so much about this. People are going to say, oh, he's passionate. That's how you can show passion. Go on. It might even be a scripted rant, but it might appear to be a little bit of rant. Then control yourself, right? You show passion and control yourself. You can talk about a rant about current events. Is it what's a greater good for the world? I could talk about the inspirational close and how before the hard sale was just hurting so many people, but it's so important that people learn the inspirational close because they're going from that irresponsible hard sale to the irresponsible soft sale, and nobody's winning. And so they got to learn that you can have a heart and make money too, right? And so that's when I can talk, and that there will save the economy. That will change more lives than anything else. I go on a rant about what's the greater good, right? Yeah, you want to get into your preaching mode. This is how I practice. I call it a motivational rant. Okay, do this next time you're driving, and it's a muscle. It's a muscle. I tell people go on a motivational rant, and rant is normally negative, like you're so angry you just keep on going. Well, can you go on a positive one, where you're just being the preacher, and just go off? Time yourself. How long can you go? And I met people, most people think they can go, well, in this group, yeah, in this group, they could probably really go long. And yet, other people I've met, most people really can only go 2 or 3 minutes before they start losing oomph, And so here's a goal for you. 20 minutes. If you're new to it, 20 minutes, okay? Build up to being able to do that. After a while, if you can go 30 minutes, 40 minutes, then I know you can go an hour and you can just keep on going. Yet practice that, and then maybe you can rant about something different. Just practice those motivational rants, and I'll tell you, you'll arrive at your destination all jacked up and happy.
Can you give us a 1-minute motivational rant?
1 minute motivational rant?
Yeah, he just did.
Oh, kind of like on the close there? Yeah, where it's just kind of going, you're feeling it, where you just got to pull over and start telling everybody else.
I want to say thank you for that, because I have pulled myself short because I've gone, oh my God, I'm on a rant, I'm rolling, I'm like, I got to get back into control.
Oh,
I realize that's my most powerful.
Yeah. At the same time, it's also pretty entertaining for the people to see. People like to say, "Oh man, he's just going off." I can imagine, you doing a presentation, and when you get on a rant, people probably love to see that, and you're just, it's like you hit that hot button and you're pressing it, and that's probably your strongest, most influential, inspirational moments that will inspire people to do more business with you. So very good. So here's another shift from what I've seen. Go from having a solution to let's do it together. In other words, you guys change your verbiage into more of a we thing. Look, I understand you have a challenge. Here's what you need to do about it, right? It's like, look, I understand we have a challenge. And the challenge is we're not making sales. So what are we going to do about it? I got an idea. Let's script. Let's us do this together. I'm going to show you my presentation. I'm going to show you my template, and we can start building your presentation instead of an I or a you. Blend into a we type of thing, and that will build togetherness. So start looking, and yet you can't blend into a we until you have a script to begin with. So you got to have a script so that we can improve. A lot of people think of writing a script from beginning to end, and that's not what I do. I write a script layer 1. and it's just kind of the what. Then I put layer 2, which is, you know, kind of the hows. Then I put layer 3, the whys. Then I put layer 4, entertainment. Then I put layer 3, jokes. Then I put layer, you know, next part, you know, and it's layering, it's redoing it, it's a rewrite, not the writing. It's a rewrite where you start adding in all these elements. So, so are you interested in seeing the whole kind of template, the whole how I write a presentation, how I put it all together? So this is what I do. In fact, so this is, let's see, starts there at slide 14, and it goes, and I'll break these down. It goes, you know, it goes down, and you can see that what I have is all these pages that are basically my kind of template. When I first started writing, I used to write on Post-it notes, you know, and then I could put all my Post-it notes up here, and then I can move things around. And what was great was I would get multiple colors. I would get, like, you know, green for something that's influential, blue for something happy, you know, red for turning up the pain, green for a specific lesson point. And I can put it all up on the screen, up on the wall, and then just by watching the color code, I can see the roller coaster, the emotional ups and downs, right? If my presentation is this, it's boring, right? So I want ups and downs, and so I can see, oh, I haven't had any red in a while, you know? I need to find a red piece, you know, a red Post-it note. And I could just, you know, make all the red Post-it notes I can, make all the green ones and all the blue ones, and then I just had to arrange them, and then I could see the color energy of how it would flow. So this is the more modern version of Post-it notes. You know, it is just slides, and I can take this slide and I can move it there and so forth. So in this presentation, I like to think of it as a skeleton. As a skeleton, I know I'm going to get the same result every single time. You know, so I'm going to come up with a human being and not a dog because I'm using this skeleton. So I need a foundation to make sure that I end up with a win-win sale at the end. Okay? Now, although I have the skeleton, the meat that goes around it makes every person different, makes every presentation different. So although it has the same structure, none of them ever look the same. Okay? And when I do this, you know, there's a section of kind of an introduction section, which is 14 through 25, and then from 25 to about 37 is kind of like the body, and then I got my close. So when I write the presentation, I always start with the end in mind. Okay? So I'm going to start off with this one here, and then I'll explain it and work it backwards with you. So over here, and I'll tell you all the kind of psychology I had around this. One is blue is a trusting color, right? This robin egg blue shirts that you have is the color I'm talking about. Did you select that on purpose because of that?
Very much so.
Very much. Yeah. Yet, I wanted a white background because on slides it's easier to see black on white than what some people put dark and white. That's reverse of what most people are used to, and so it's harder on their eyes. So to do that, I just put a blue border on it. I made it opaque so it can see through, and so now I have the subconscious showing of money. So even though I'm talking about something inspirational, you're still associating with money, even if I'm not talking about money. You think it has that lead to there, right? And then I want to put whatever statement I have as a strong statement below, because that's the thing they're going to see again and again and again. I put a lot of the stuff, this stuff on the bottom, not the top, because in a presentation, if it's on the screen, the people's heads might be in the way. So the bottom part might be cut off by someone's head in front of them. So if I put all that stuff there and content on the below, they'll miss some things. So that's the reason why it's on below. Webinars, if they can't see you, I want to create a relationship with me, the person. And if they are only listening to me, well, then they want to know who's talking. So I like having a picture there because I want them to associate with me as much as possible when they can. So I would write a presentation. I charge $10,000 for a one-day presentation, and it would take me half the day just to do this one slide. Okay, the rest of the presentation came in a whole other half of the day. So this one slide takes half a day for me to do, and that's coming up with the right offer. And the right offer is everything. And so, who teaches internet marketing here, or really studies a lot of the internet marketing here? And stuff like that. So, they use a lot of keywords. You understand search engines and keywords, and yet I find it interesting, people don't use keywords in the name of their products. It's like, well, just call the product, use the keywords in the name of the product. So so the first thing is the name of the offer is essential. And I say the name of the offer, not the product. Sometimes, because I had to write presentations for other people, they come to me with a product, the REI Black Book. Okay, well, you already have a product. I can't change the name of the product, but that doesn't. It's not inspiring. It doesn't cause any kind of action. It doesn't tell me what I get with why I want this Black Book, right? So what I do is I have the name of their offer. The offer is this combination of the Black Book and other things. So the name of the offer is the Wealth and Freedom, because that's what people want. Wealth and Freedom System, or something like that. That's kind of generic, but you get the idea. I'm using the keywords of what they want and what they're already looking for in the name of the offer. So why do we study keywords in internet marketing? Because that's what people are looking for. Well, then make the name of your product, oh, that's what I've been looking for. I've been searching for it, and there's a product. It's even called that, I do I've been teaching a seminar with my mentor for a long time called The Turning Point. It's like people want a turning point in their life. They want to take their life to the next level. So they're saying that before we meet them. How do I get my life to the next level? So therefore, my event's called The Next Level. There you go, right? And so the name of the offer is essential. And what's neat about that is you can change it to every crowd, every audience that you're speaking to. The name of the offer is what they're buying. Because they're going, at this point, this is all more emotional than it is logical. Okay? If you've done it right, all they need to do is confirm a lot of things, and then they'll buy. Okay, so what's in your offer? And I have a program called the 3-Round Success System. Here are some of the things that people want. This is what they're going to buy, and if you can fill these needs, this makes a nice package for them. Some people I talk to, they only have one thing for sale. Well, here's my one thing. No, you don't. When Jace had one of his first programs, he had one product. This is the one thing to sell. And it's like, no, we need to chunk this out. And so it's like, well, what's in there? Well, there's, five chapters in it. Great. Now we just break it apart. Now we have 5 different things. We can chunk it out. This one lesson, this one lesson, this one lesson. And so we can find a way to take one product and make it many products. Sometimes we need to put more things in there. But what kind of things? They want some kind of home learning system. Okay, home learning. They don't like to study, so I put it learning. That's a little better. Yeah, I'm still always kind of playing with what terms to use there. And I said home learning system. People like the idea of a system, so just calling a system will change everything. Instead of just 3 rounds to success, I call it 3 rounds to success system. Changes everything. Changes the appeal to it. What's in it? Well, they want something audio, right? They want something video, and they want something print. So what can you make with your own product to fill those 3 things, audio, video, and print? Can you do it in a digital and hard copy versions? Now, once you come up with these items, again, you want to use keywords to name it. right? And how can you do that? Well, you know, if you need a certain product or a video and you don't have it yet, 10-10-3. You know, you can create it. You know, so a lot of times I have to actually retool what a person's product is to make it more appealing so that people would buy. So some keywords to put in there. Well, you know, are there some big bucks in there? So instead of just calling it the 3-round system, I might call it the 3 rounds profitable system, or the $1 million 3-round system, or showing something where there's might be some big bucks in it. And just by changing one of the product titles to add in a number to it can change everything. Okay, so where can you put a number? Even if you're a weight loss, it's like 10 pounds in so many days or so many weeks, right? Just by putting that number in there can change, and just change that one module. You don't have to change your product or the name of the company, but just change the product one module can change everything for you. They want something with technology. So how can you put technology into your product or service? Elance is a place where you can have software made for you. And so what could, in real estate, it could be a deal calculator. In personal development, it might be a priority setting system or a goal setting system, right? You get software to write your goals down. It's called a pen and paper, okay? But you go on iTunes, there's goal apps to help you write your goals. And what is it? It's a notepad. You still got to write in it, but they have an app for it. So I kind of make light of kind of ridiculous simple apps, only to show you that it's easy to get. Okay, once you have a dumb app, then you won't be satisfied, and you'll look for a better app, something to create. But what kind of technology can you put into what you have? I could give you my sales template on paper, okay? Or if I put it into a PowerPoint, give you the PowerPoint, now I'm giving you technology. Make sense? So how can you add a technology element to it?
Yeah, one of the beautiful things about the technology element is people see it as an implementation device.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can make it an implementation device, it's even stronger. And I love one of the things that Jace did in the recent presentation at the 3 Days of Secrets Reveal. Part of the product came on a little thumb drive, and it looked like a golden key.
Yeah.
So he blended, this is the key to your success throughout the presentation. And then, of course, you needed to get the key to your success, and then it actually looked like a key. It tied the whole technology piece in with the digital copy. It was just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, those keys are great. Also, what does it say about you? You're cutting edge. You're up to date. Even the people who are afraid of technology want to know that I might be old school and afraid of technology, but if I'm going to put money towards what you have, I want to know that you have up-to-date stuff. So even though I'll be a little scared of it, I want to know it's cutting edge, right, and competitive. And those keys are great. I have a little presentation key box, so I get, so when I present it to them, it looks really good. So having a technology element. How about community element? Right? Community element is huge. It could be a Facebook page. That's a simple one and very powerful. You need to manage it. You need to make sure there's activity in it. But what other ways can you build community? How about giving them a membership card? So they feel like they have something to belong to. I'm so proud. 2 weeks ago, I was doing a 5-day seminar, and my little girl asked, she's 7, asked, can I do a presentation? Of course, So, and I didn't prompt her on what she was going to do or anything. I just said, you do it? And I was curious to see what she would emulate or what she saw and what she would do. She came up, she doesn't do technology, but she had different poster boards. So she made her PowerPoint presentation on poster boards, right? And she sold She came up with My Animal Rescue League, which now she owns myanimalrescueleague.org, which is her website. And she sold membership cards, and all you have to do is promise to save animals when you can. And she sold the membership cards for $1. And when you sign up and enroll and pledge to take care of animals today, she'll even make you a custom bracelet. It was a pipe cleaner with beads on it that she made. So you select your pipe cleaner, and she made beads on it, and she sold it for $1, and she closed 100% from the stage. It was just like, oh, I was so proud. I was like, oh, I love it, right? But she has a membership card. So now, because we were talking about her website, and she told me what she wanted in it. I didn't tell her. We wrote it out on an index card. We drew pictures of what the site would look like. Now we just have to make it happen. And she says, well, I want them to sign up. So I would ask her, when they sign up, what happens then? They get a membership card. Okay, so that's the opt-in. So now on our site, they get an opt-in. The autoresponder will be a membership card with their name on it, right? And so that's part of that kind of community building. Belong to something bigger. What are the kind of community things you can? Again, there's live meetings. There's online forums that you can make.
We just have a group messaging app.
A group messaging app.
One of the things you're noticing now is we're actually giving people tags to put on their name badge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when they walk around, they go, "Oh, you're part of Coach Blueprint too."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Community inside of community.
Yes. Yes. So community, think about how can you build that into your offer, okay? Fast start. Oh, when I buy this, it's probably just going to sit on my shelf, and I'm not going to do anything with it, so I'm not going to buy it. It's like have something built in so they can do something right away. So I like doing a fast start coaching call. It's a 10-minute call that after 1 week, a week later after you buy the product, they're going to get a phone call that will help them get started, what they need to do first. How to open up their package and what to pay attention to. You get Mike's Big Box, watch this video first or something like that. So it's just a 10-minute, kind of a scripted thing. You can even hire someone else to do that 10-minute thing, but you get a free 10-minute fast start coaching call, right? That's going to tell you how to get started. What else? What's another reason that call is really good? It's a stick. Absolutely. It's a good stick program. So whether or not you mentioned it in your offer, you should be doing that because it's more for your interest to get the sale to stick than anything else. But you might as well make it value to them. So make it a fast start coaching call, and it has those multiple wins. Now, they also want coaching. So can you put any kind of coaching element into it? Let's say you aren't a coach and you don't want to do monthly coaching. You can still do one group coaching call, right? So maybe you do one, for newbies, and it's just the one call. Somehow get some kind of coaching in there, and if you don't feel comfortable with it, get a coach that will rant and rant and rant, and hire them to do one call for you, And yet, if you can have something ongoing, how can you add a coaching element to the offer, right? And a fast action, what I mean by that is fast action bonus. I'll come back to that one. And then resistance. So resistance, what's the reason they're not buying your product or service? Can you come up with a product or service to add to it that would help? So for example, well, I just don't have, I like the real estate, I just don't have the money to invest. Well, can I get business credit infusion? I know someone else who has a program called Business Credit Infusion, where they can learn how to get business loans. Great. I go to that person. Guess what? He has a big program and a small program. I say, can I have the small program, put it into my offer, and then that will lead to your bigger sale? He says yes. So I got a free product from someone else to put into my product to solve the challenges of my customer so they can buy my product. Right? So whatever challenge they have, handle the objection through your offer. Because, well, I just don't have the time. I know. That's why it's very important that we have our time management software in here so that you have that time. You know, it's like, well, I just got to talk to my spouse. It's like, I know. That's why we have this relationship building ebook, you know, to help you how to communicate to your spouse better, right? Or whatever. You know, so whatever objections they have, resistance they have, handle it through your offer. Questions, comments, compliments, ideas, things that you want to throw out to each other about this area, and then I'll continue. Go ahead.
Just one idea I had. I'm working on a joint product with a business partner, and we're going to do a digital product, and we'll monitor their progress. And if somebody gets through module 2 and just stops, they'll get a phone call from a coach.
Awesome.
To sell them into coaching to walk them through it.
Yeah.
So that's another. Make sure they finish the product, but you can also profit from that process.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that. I have a friend, he uses the, what's it, Moogle? What's it called? It's the online, Moodle. You know, so it's like every 20 minutes, they show 20 minutes, and you got to take a test to unlock the next 20 minutes, to unlock the next 20 minutes and stuff. But I like the idea of having those tripwires so you know where they're progressing in the system. Other comments, questions, or ideas that you have around building an offer?
One of the things that Ryan Dice had done
Yeah.
for his events was to basically write up talking points, or here's your script for when you have to talk to your boss, spouse, whoever, that might not understand
Oh,
the
yeah.
value of it. So it's like, here's what you can tell them.
Uh-huh.
So they won't
So you
talk
just
about going,
made this investment. And it's like, what do you tell your wife when you get home, or your boss, or your husband when you get home, and then here's a script to handle your friends and family about why you're doing this, why this is important. That's great. I like that. I like
Didn't
that.
like it so much when one of his employees brought it to him for another.
You said something earlier, and I think it would really benefit the group. You talked about layers.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rename those layers for some of the folks? Because I know that.
Sure. Because this, again, I told you, this takes me half a day on this one alone, because I need to look at it from so many different ways. It's like, is it appealing yet? Is it appealing yet? Would I buy this yet? Would I buy this yet? And I got to make this a irresistible offer to where there's nothing left to be said about it. And when I've shown this to other people and I'm writing their own offers for them, they're like, well, my product's $300. I can't sell it for more than that. After I do this, they're like, oh my gosh, no, my product's $3,000. He goes, okay, great. Now we're going back down to 1,000. You just keep on adding huge value to it. But I'm looking at different layers. One layer is just what is it? So my first part of making this offer, what are you giving them? Just start with what do you have, right? And then you're going to look at, well, what else do you need? Well, when I talked about scripting, I'll go back and I'll play it to this. I said, what are you going to say? How are you going to say it? Why you're saying it? Another layer would be stories, humor, right? And then there's the more sale. Then we'll code it with a part of sale to see any influencing parts I can put into there. And so those are some of the layers that I'll put. So even with this, I'm going to look at the entire offer and say, okay, what am I giving them? Okay, what do I need to be giving them? What do they need to have? What do they need to have in order to buy this, or to think I want that? What is their experience they've had in the past, and that's the reason they failed in the past? They didn't do this because after they bought the product, it was all left it done and couldn't continue. So what can we do to add to that? Community. So I'm solving all the challenges with multiple things in this offer. And this here isn't a list of different parts of my offers. This is a list of different ways of overcoming resistance.
What about bonuses?
Oh, these are all the bonuses. So a part of this might be the main system, and then all the other bonuses, but they're all designed. Bonuses are there to overcome objections or resistance. So let me talk about this part here, which is that fast action and how that kind of fits in there. So over here, I have my offer, and it comes up to a total value of something, right? Of course, I'm going to tell them, so although it has, so before I can do anything with this value, I've got to close them that this is the real world value. This is truly worth that value, okay? One way I might do it is I use 3 if-all statements. 3 if-all. So after I come here at the $2,500, look, if all this program did was help you double your sales ability, if all this program did was give you confidence so that you can go on in front of a presentation and sell many people instead of one at a time. If all this program did was help you design your offer so that you can be more impactful online, would it be worth it? If all this program did, if all this did was this, would it be worth this investment? If it all did this, and you do 3 of those, because once is a fluke, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern. So we want to get them to say yes, yes, yes. We want to get them to say yes 3 times. If all this did was this, would it be worth it? If all this did was increase the quality of relationship.
Yes to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And guys, I love what he just did there. I love putting in a very factual, number-oriented, because they can't say no to it. If all this program did was get you 1 more client per month, okay? I mean, in 3 months it pays for itself, or something like that.
Yeah.
And they can't argue with that. They can't argue with that number.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that. So you do once they're sold on that, now I can drop the price to get them to take action fast. So although it has this value and that number comes up there and then goes to X, the risk-free investment is whatever it is, right? And what do I mean by risk-free? It has a guarantee. Have some kind of guarantee of some sort. Doesn't have to be the greatest guarantee. A good guarantee would be great, and have something. Have some kind of guarantee. Now I want to put in that fast action bonus. That's what I had here. I told you I'd come back to. You want to put a fast action bonus, and that is something that, boy, I would pay that money just for that one item. This has got to be like your most irresistible thing. So even though you want to put it into your system, don't. Hold it back to be your fast action bonus. So there might be something in your full system you might want to hold back, for your second close. So you put in your fast action bonus. So now I can go over the offer, put in the fast action bonus, which bumps up the total value, and then I can bring the price down again for my close. That make sense? Questions so far? All right, so let me back up and show you.
Is this useful, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Let me show you what happens right before that. So getting to this offer, the close kind of starts over here. So once I've really built up the pressure, I've introduced myself, told my story, given some education, and built up some pressure during that point. Now they're saying, this is fantastic. I love this. Where can I get more? I need this. What do you have for me? So now that's my system, okay? I start off with telling them some features and benefits. And remember, what's the difference between a feature and a benefit? A benefit are only those things that I asked for. If I didn't ask for it, it's a feature. So, so I want to tell them, before I tell them, instead of saying, here's my product, it's 6 CDs, 3 DVDs, a workbook. No. Here's my product. It gives you more time. It solves your challenges. It puts meaning into your life. It makes your life easier. It empowers you, helps you connect with other people, right? So give the emotional benefits first to describe your product. After you do that, then we can go into the nuts and bolts of what they actually get. So I go into all the benefits and solutions of 1, 2, and 3 of what challenges my product solves. I'm going to give them the nuts and bolts, of what are the tangibles, or what they actually get in that. oftentimes I use a phrase real world value because I may not sell it ever by itself. It's only sold within the package. However, if I did sell it by itself, which I don't, I would probably put a value of this on it. That makes sense? So this is a real world value. I'm not saying that's its price because it's only sold within the package. But I want to build up that value. So therefore, I can get to that ultimate slide over here where I'm showing this, and I may even have little prices here to add up to this total here. You know, so I'll show how all this really adds up and convince them that this is a real price.
Is this good, guys?
Yeah. How long is your guarantee?
It depends on what it is. If I have hard, my hard products, and this is just me, there's lots of different people, different things. Mine's is 30 days, no questions for hard products. A lot of my seminars are come to the first day. After the first day. And there's so much to be said about guarantees.
And we've been bumping up the guarantees, okay? So, for instance, it's come to the first 2 days of ours, and at the end of the second day, so come to the bonus day and the first day, and if you don't like it, we'll give you all your money back, plus $500 just for coming. So we've been working on bumping those guarantees up. Could you back up just one little more? I want to go through
how far?
real quick, and then I want to run something around the table. What's one thing you learned from this so he can respond to what you guys learned and maybe tweak it the other direction?
Oh, okay.
So I just want to hit some of these real quick. Back up just a little bit more. All right. One more, I think. So let's just run through this real quick. There we go. All right.
So
you talk about the script for the inspirational close. Okay, one, to grab their attention, right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. You get them in the yes state. You are about to discover, so now you're framing what you're getting ready to teach them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why X, this is the reason it affects your lives and how it will change everything and how it will make it easier, more profitable, all that, okay? The opportunity is now. You see this one? This is incredibly important. The opportunity is now. Right, Charlotte? When is now? When is now, okay? And then, of course, who he is and why you should be listening to him and everything. Notice he didn't put this right up front a lot of times. I do, but he's actually grabbed their attention, got all this, and then he tells them why he can help them get all that. Okay? And then he goes through even more about who he is and then his why and different things. And Jason's going to talk more about the why factor here in just a little bit. And then here's the problem that people have on the surface, in their mind, in their areas of their life and everything. And looky here. We have a solution. Okay? The solution is this: 3 or 5 keys to success, steps, pillars, what do you call that?
Axioms.
Keys, principles, principle number 1, and then story and proof. Did you catch that, guys? Principle number 1. Okay, the lesson, stories, heart. Notice the heart, least of, and then story, proof, example. Principle number. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's principle, story, examples, principle, story, example. Whatever you said here, you're just kind of chunking that down. So I start off with writing that close first. Then and then this part here before that is the intro. That's the second part. And then you got the body, because when you do a presentation, you got to know the timings of all of that. So let's say you have an hour and a half and then they cut you down to an hour. What part do you cut? And most people just try to talk faster and they end up not being able to do it, and they end up cutting their close. So what you need, no, you cut the middle part.
You cut one of these out.
You cut out the middle part. The close is the last thing. If I have to, if I go from an hour and a half to 20 minutes, well then I got one slide for intro and then I go straight to the close.
So here's one of the big secrets, and you'll have to tell me later maybe why this is not right, but here's what I've been doing. So I know that people are pushing me to finish faster nowadays ever than before. So I'll take principle number 3 and I'll move it to after the close. Okay? You see? And then I'll put my whole close in there and I'll say, and by the way, if we have time, I'll get to principle number 3. Now the people that are hosting, they want me to get to principle 3. They let me finish my close instead of going, oh, he's closing now. Can we wind this up, Mike? You only got 5 minutes. Okay? And so
I like it.
and it is working fabulously. So that's one new little trend that I've been testing, and it works great. Can we go on up now? So you got principle 1, and then
story,
principle 2, proof,
story,
and then principle 3, proof. Okay.
then here's what's interesting. So you got that proof, but watch, proof, proof, proof. Then this is a who next type of thing.
Who is willing to be my next success story? Who's willing next to be the guy that makes this happen?
Remember I said yes 3 times? So it's proof. Yes, 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 right? And then what does that success look like to you? Whatever, might look like whatever. So you want to change this to what's most meaningful to that audience?
Yeah, and look, this is all the things people want. And by the way, people really want 3 things. And in my presentation that at 3 Days Secret Revealed, you saw it. They want wealth, they want freedom, and they want security. And I teach them that 2 of those doors are the wrong doors to go through. There's only one real door to go through. And you have to choose the right door or you don't get the other 2. Okay? And so you'll...
what did you say? Wealth, security, and what?
Wealth, security, and freedom. Okay? Is that pretty much right?
Yeah.
And most people teach wealth and freedom. Okay? What I've discovered is, especially in the audience, especially if their spouse is there, they want security. Okay? And so I've added that one in. And security, by the way, is the wrong door to go through. And I have to teach the spouse that so that they'll go, yeah, you got to go through this door because I know I'll get that when you do that. Okay? And then he talked about everything else here, but
Yeah.
what's that one over there?
So we go into their whys, and then just before I get into my close, I tell them something personal about me to give one last more of, oh yeah, this is who this person is, that trust factor, before I go into
And then he
the close.
introduces the system, okay, the benefits we talked about,
Yep.
benefit and
Yep.
solution number 1.
Yep.
Number 2, number 3, the nuts and bolts a little bit. And then here's the winning strategy, okay? And then the price, and then the guarantee, and then the bonus, okay? And then all the keywords with the offer again, and then the price again. And by the way, don't forget, and I told you this already, how he comes back to 3 times. If this product got you just one more sale, okay? In fact, Nick, in yours, if my product helped you get just one more location to put in another refrigerator, it would pay for itself within, probably 2 months, okay? Or if I could teach you how to get $8 a hole instead of $2 a hole, how many holes do you have to have before the system pays for itself? Boom.
Would this be a good point to talk to them about if you're trying to get them new customers, clients, or patients, the average lifetime value of their
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lifetime.
Yeah.
In fact, I established that earlier, and then I just refer to it here. I do that much earlier in the presentation. All right, so he's running close on time.
By the way, continuity,
Yep.
lifetime value has a whole new meaning to me now.
Yes, it does. It does.
Which makes me provide a better service.
Marlene, my keys to my Jeep are on my bag, and I want you to have that here in a second because I want you to be able to run into the airport. I don't want to be on hotel time. I want to take care of him.
Right.
So, go ahead.
Right before you do the close, you said you show one more picture of yourself and your family. You say something personal. Is that personal thing? Are you saying I'm just like you, or was just like you, or is it something else? It's a false
It goes into that. It goes into the why. It's just it really kind of depends.
It goes into the mission.
Yeah, I mean, a mission is a great way to go. Going into your why is a great way to go. Because I just talked about going into who wants to be next, the next success story. Well, whatever success means to you, this is what success meant to me, and this is part of my why, and this is why you can trust me as I tell you, here's my product.
Yeah, and in fact, in the beginning of one of the things, I tell the story of how, Susan was pregnant. We almost lost Susan. We almost lost Elizabeth. Wow. See, I can already, just the story, I can
Right.
already feel the emotions. I'm getting ready to cry on you, and I'm trying not to. But when I tell that story, they see that. And at the end, I show the picture of Susan and Elizabeth at the pond feeding the ducks. And that's why it's so important to me that I want to make sure that you have that ability built in as well. And your story has to touch you as much as mine just did.
Yep.
Okay? And they'll feel it.
Yeah.
And they'll know your why is to help make sure that they can have those sort of things in life as well. All right, so real quick. Brooks, what's one thing you learned? This was so powerful.
Yes.
Yes.
One, can we get at least a printout of the template?
I don't know. I'll ask you.
Oh.
He charges $10,000.
I figure I might as well ask right now and you can say no.
We'll talk about it.
I'll let him decide that, and he can tell me later, okay?
For me, is how you prepare the presentation. Close, intro, body.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do it backwards, always.
Yeah.
Don't ever forget that. That was brilliant. Lisa.
You sold me on scripting.
Good.
Good.
Good. Yay.
You sassy thing, you. Okay. All right.
Shifting from hard topic versus soft topic to practical and purposeful.
Good.
Huge.
Huge.
All right.
3 if statements. If all this program did was blank, 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 would it be worth it?
Yep. Okay. And so at the chapter meeting, when you're selling the newsletter, take all this and start practicing
Yeah.
on selling that silly little newsletter.
now
and
ma-
it just explodes.
Now make sure you say it. If all this did, would it be worth it? If all this did, would it be worth it? If all this did, would it be worth it? Not if all this did, list 3 things.
Okay,
So it's 3.
1, would it be worth it? 2, would it be worth it? 3, would it be worth it?
Yes, because you want him to say yes 3 times, not answer 1 yes for 3 things. It's 3.
That's why we're running this around.
Three separate yeses.
I got
Cool. Nick?
I like being able to hand out a flash drive at the end of that as they sign up, because I've been struggling with trying to give them something at the presentations.
Actually, and this is so cool because one of the things I just taught that I came back from Australia from was the flash drives now come in all shapes and forms, and you can have them made any shape you want. Krista said that Jace uses like a key flash drive, Jace?
Yeah, it's in the shape of a key.
I haven't seen that, or if I have, I've forgotten it. Yeah, okay. And
I probably have one in my backpack.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
It's super cool. So yeah, the flash. So I have one flash drive from diving. It's in the shape of Nemo or a clownfish. I have one that's in the shape of a jet boat because they did the video of us on the jet boat. And so yeah.
I just got this cool new flash drive. It's USB on one side, and then I slide the thing over, and it attaches to my iPhone. And so now I can watch all the videos and audios on my iPhone from my
gosh.
USB. And
Now that's technology
even if
cutting edge.
even if their computer, their phone is full,
Yeah.
I can still get. I have a 64 gig one,
Wow.
and so people would love that. It's like, oh,
And they
I
can
just want to
watch
get
it
one of
on their
those.
phone now.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. That's
You know,
brilliant.
in the United States, they're like $200 for the 64 gig. I found them on, I think, Wish.com, China version for $40 instead of. So I'm sure if you got a smaller one, they're like $20 or something like that. So
Cool.
anyways,
Sean.
Thank you for the step-by-step of creating the offer. That was really awesome.
Creating the offer is so powerful, and it's one of the most important things you all have to learn. Okay, Sean. I'm sorry, Phil.
Personal story example.
Personal story examples, and you've got to have those guys. And he said it, and I will tell you, I didn't do it intentionally at the beginning, but I realized how powerful it is. They've got to be able to feel that emotional, just like you saw when I talked about Susan and Elizabeth. And by the way, I tell that story all the time, okay? And it still hits me, and they feel that. Shauna, how about you? What's one thing you picked up?
yeah.
Cool. Scott?
10-10-3.
10-10-3. Cool. Krista?
Stole mine.
I love the role play cards.
The
I
role
think
play
that's
cards.
fantastic.
They're awesome.
And I love having the story so that they know where they're coming from. So it's not just a role play and you're making it up on the fly. It's a definite place where you're coming from. So that's great.
And all the role play cards that we created were created from real world experiences. This is, you know, like who did you meet in the past? Okay, make a role, write that on a card. Now you've got your card. So that's how you make them up based off of real people.
Brett?
The preach it, go on an emotional rant.
Yeah.
I love it.
And you should.
Yeah.
You absolutely should. Okay? And you know, quite honestly, it's why Trump's winning right now. Okay? Because he's on a rant all the time. Okay? and he's passionate about it, right? So we should all learn from that a little bit. Jace, you want to share anything?
Yeah, just how valuable it is when I go through my presentation and I implement this stuff and keep improving.
Yeah.
It
Nelda?
makes a lot of sales.
Yes, it does. Nelda?
Starting with the end in mind.
Starting with the end in mind.
Selling to them from the beginning, even before you introduce yourself.
Cool. Frank?
Yeah, mine's that color-coded post-it method. I'm
Oh,
gonna use
and that.
Yeah, right?
I'm totally
And-
gonna use that.
And by the way, guys, from the very first 3 Days of Secrets Revealed, the very first 3 Days of Secrets Revealed, that's what Christian and I did, was Post-its in different colors with different,
Oh, yeah?
and so we
Good.
could literally, and we would move speakers around, we would move topics around, and we do it even more now than we did then, okay? We actually draw up day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and we start putting Post-it
Awesome.
notes up, okay?
Awesome.
So that is one of the most powerful things.
Yes.
Thank you for teaching that. Charlotte?
When you advertise where everyone else is, the customer determines your value and price.
Yes.
Yep. Kason, you want to throw anything out?
Sure, dropping in some subliminal pictures of money as well as
Yep.
your photo.
Which is interesting because I use like an eagle in the backdrop of a lot of my presentations, but when I went to Canada, well, that's kind of an American backdrop, so I went to money as a backdrop, okay? And I call it my coin. It's all coins and things like that, but so yeah, the great idea there. And hang on, Jen?
Discipline is a reward,
Oh.
train like an athlete.
Yes, you have to. Yeah. Lisa?
I like the concept of
That's a good one for you.
trust, and because I'm
Yeah.
The which one?
creating a speaker's website, and I was asking Jace the other day, what do you think my color is? You answered it for me, blue.
And by the way, guys, notice this color of blue right here. This is important. I'm going to actually show you my shirts later and tell you what the image consultant told me about some of the shirts that you wear. And I've been testing different colors of blue for the last 3 years, just testing it, and I'll give you some of the interesting thoughts on that as well. Any
Very cool.
last words? Because I want to make sure we get you out of here, and it is right at
So,
9.
yeah, so my last words is I'm excited to be connecting with all of you. I'll connect with you through Facebook. I want to get to know all your businesses and be able to refer businesses to you and stuff like that, and get to, and play with you. So you ready to play together?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Cool.
I'm open.
Man, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. You are welcome to head out, Marlene. If